I want to start today thinking about, this whole time of Elul and noticing that sometimes there can be a heaviness associated with it. It's like, I got to get ready, Elul, let me take on 5 practices and so I'll be ready. And so there's this can sometimes be this heaviness associated with cheshbon hanefesh, with that spiritual accounting. Sometimes it's a feeling of heaviness in just getting started. And sometimes there's a tiredness that can show up when we're working with familiar habits. It's like, oh, this again. Really? This again? Again? Um, and that's totally understandable. But one of the things in this week's Parsha that is offered is that it's also very accessible, that connection or reconnection to the oneness of being, to the light of living Torah is right here, is right here. It's not out there somewhere hard to find. We can be accountable to ourselves, reliable to ourselves. We can move from being lost and disconnected. We can do teshuvah, we can do return by coming back to our senses, all 6 of them that are right here. Return from mental abstractions to Torah, to the Torah of sight received by the eyes, of sound received by the ears, of taste received by the tongue, of scent received by the nose, of touch received by the skin, of thoughts as just phenomenon that are received by the mind. So I'll share a little bit from the beginning of the Parsha here. It starts off with this. Oh, I love how Zoom hides part of this. Hang on one second. There we go. Now I can see it. It starts, Atem nitzavim hayom kolchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. You stand this day, all of you, before God. And then it goes into a list. And for me, I'm just bringing your attention to this idea that who is connected to this? And it starts out, it's all of us. You tribal head, you tribal heads, you elders, you officials, all the men of Israel, but also you children, you women, even the stranger within your camp, from wood chopper to water drawer, to enter into the covenant with your God, Yud He Vav He. So I bring attention for those of us who pay attention to the news because we live in a country where stuff is happening, the wood chopper to the water drawer. These 2 types of laborers that exemplify specific tasks performed by resident non-Israelites, the stranger, they are included in the covenant here. So who is the you is all the people. And this idea that Torah belongs to every one of us and not just the experts. Even though it's so wonderful to learn, to have somebody open up a bit of Torah for us by teaching it, it's still, it is ours. And we come to it through our own senses. A little further in the Parsha, we come to this part. Um, Surely this instruction which I enjoin you upon you this day, it's not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond reach. It's not in the heavens that you should say, who among us, which expert, can go up to the heavens and get it for us and impart it to us, that we may observe it. Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who among us can cross to the other side of the sea and get it for us and impart it to us, that we may observe it. So I'm just pulling out of exactly what I just showed you before and just pulling out a part of this. And I've highlighted in this sort of purpley color this part after ki mitzvah hazot, surely this instruction, which I enjoin upon you this day, lo niflate he. That niflate can be problematic. like literally problematic. It's or baffling or difficult, nor is it beyond reach. But it is also, we recognize it maybe even more from nifla. It's not too wondrous for you. It's like, oh, who am I, poor little me? Like, no, it's not. It's not beyond you, neither too baffling nor too wondrous. Lo bashamayim hi. It is not in the heavens. It is not in the heavens. Okay, now I can't remember yeah. It's close. Ki karov elecha hadavar me'od. This thing is very close. Beficha, in your mouth, uvilvavcha la'asoto, and in your heart, to make it, to observe it. It's right here. It's right here. So I'm getting from this that, and I'll stop the share now. This is fundamental to our practice. Our own experience is authentic. We don't need to go far. It's already inside of us. We don't need to exoticize it. We don't need to look for the answer out there somewhere. Torah is near to us. We can learn about it. We can practice to become more receptive to it all around us, all of that. But no one can do it for us. No one can sit for us. No one can, no one can do it for us. We have to observe it, each one of us, take our own inward journey. And that's the truth of it, that Torah has always been an inward, not an out there journey. The only place we have to travel to find this Torah of this living Torah is in our own heart. So I invite you to find your seat. Adjust your posture in any way that helps you to feel both relaxed and alert. Relaxed and alert. I like to sit with my feet wide apart, creating a nice tripod. Let my shoulders float over my hips, the top of my head raise up, lengthening the back of the neck. And you make any adjustments that allow you to be both relaxed and alert. And I'll guide us for just a few minutes, and then we'll sit in silence together. So just let your attention come to rest on the feeling of the breath at the tip of the nostrils. And let your awareness follow the breath throughout the entire inhale and exhale. Notice if you have any feeling of holding on anywhere in the breathing process. And let that relax any amount. Deeply let be into the bodily feeling of the breath. Letting the feeling of the breath draw you into oneness with it. As if letting the breath do the knowing. Letting it meditate you while the awareness rests so lightly on this breath. And when the mind begins to wander, as it does, this again, let the feeling of the breath draw you right back to it, just like a magnet. The thing is very close to you. It's right here in your mouth and in your heart to simply observe it.
Thank you so much, Cantor Julie Newman. And before we turn to Mourner's Kaddish, we're going to hear the sound of the shofar, as is our custom every day during the month of Elul, our spiritual wake-up call. So you can continue to listen meditatively and just notice what may stir in you, in the body. Turn now to Mourner's Kaddish. If you're commemorating someone who passed, you're welcome to share their name in the chat. And you are welcome to rise with me in body or in spirit as you are able. As we say, Yitgadal, Yitgadash,
Kadash Shemay Rabba Amar Divrach Kivite Ichvach Chayachon Yomelchon Chayei Lechol Beit Yisrael V'Gala B'Zman Amen. Am Barach Zalach Parach Vitbar Mishpar Vitbar V'Tol Shemay Mikela Kol Brachata Tishbachata V'Nechemata
May the memories of those who we've lost inspire us to acts of wisdom, compassion, kindness, and justice. And let us say Amen. Thank you so much again, Cantor Julie Newman, for that beautiful teaching and practice. And if you're leaving now, we want to send you off with blessings for well-being, wholeness, resilience, and all good things in 5786, and wishes for Shana Tova Umetuka, a sweet and good year. And for those who want to stay on, we'll have an opportunity for some questions and responses with our teacher and guide today, Cantor Julie Newman. And we'll turn to that now. If you do have a question, I'd like to ask you to please place it in the chat, prefacing your question with the word question in caps, which will just make it easier for me to find those questions amid all of the other activity that's happening here on the chat. Before we do that, Julie, as is my um, friend and teacher, Rabbi Mark Margolius's custom, I just want to mirror back what I heard just to make sure I really got it, to make sure I understood it correctly. Um, and so I remember you sharing how this month of Elul and our preparations for the high holidays, it can be a time that can be depleting and really, in some ways, also, very intense. We can place a lot of expectations on ourselves to take on additional practices or really engage in the kind of soul searching that can be really, in some ways, very overwhelming. And that part and parcel of that might be the sense that we need to acquire something, beyond ourselves in order to become the people we hope to be and receive the Torah of Teshuvah that we might need right now in this moment. And I just really found such inspiration in your invitation and in your reminder that actually the light of living Torah, this is actually what you said, I'm quoting here directly, the light of living Torah is right here. Um, and that Teshuvah really is an invitation to return to that living Torah, not in an abstract way, but actually in our very body through our five senses. I really love some of the language you use, right? Torah is ours, and we come to it through our senses. I love that literal understanding of what it means to come to our senses, quite literally.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily for experts, and that ultimately Torah is in our own heart, and that we tap or access that Torah through an inward journey. And then you led us in that beautiful practice, which helped us to actually take that journey ourselves. So, Julie, did I get that right?
It feels right to me. You're doing a good Mark Margolius and a good Rachel Maddow.
Okay, good, 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 good. Wonderful.
But
So,
yes, that is what I was hoping that you would get from it. So I appreciate you mirroring it back.
okay, wonderful. So, now that we've got that in good working order, I'll just begin with a question or two of my own, and then we'll open it up to the participants here. You know, I I just really, really value this teaching that you offered here. Um, and I wonder if you can say a little bit more about how you experience your senses or your sense gates, right, as channels through which Torah flows.
Ha. So it is the difference, that movement from being sort of lost in thoughts, like I'm like it's like imagine my thoughts are a little doing a little macrame up here and they're trying to solve all the problems of the world, and then there's kind of like a move to the feeling of air on skin. Oh, that's real. Oh, that's real. This is just kind of a doing its thing up here and is not, it's almost air gapped in a way from the world. And we come to our senses to become reconnected with the world. And whichever senses are available, like that, feeling my feet on the ground, feeling the weight of my body in this chair. And when I can make that switch, it I can use all the words, but it's not the words that describe it. You have that experience of a different orientation, a different awareness.
I love that. And
Does
what
that
I'm
make
hearing
sense?
is, yeah, and what I'm hearing is that Torah is really about connecting with what's real, you know,
Oh yeah.
what's
Oh
what's
yeah.
really true.
What's really, because otherwise, I so people who've sat with me a lot will recognize this. For me, right now, my working definition of with Torah is like Torah is my spiritual workout tool. It's not a place I go for the truth or the answer. It's only a thing that manifests, that becomes real when we're, digging into the Play-Doh, when we're actually working with it. It only comes alive. So sort of like the idea that, if I imagine I'm holding up a sheet of paper that has music on it. and I try to sell you that this is music. And you know darn well, this is not music.
Right, right. The menu isn't the meal.
Right,
The
right,
menu isn't
right,
the meal.
right,
I
right.
love that.
And I have to keep reminding myself that a lot because it is so easy and just normal for me to go into like working out the stuff in my like and going into that air-gapped abstract place.
Yeah. Julie, I really want to thank you for that because I feel like, in large part, our people, I think because of all the trauma we experienced throughout the generations, we've kind of developed an orientation to Torah that's about kind of becoming a disembodied head, right? Hyper intellectual, very heady, very concept based. And what you're offering here, I feel personally, is like a real tikkun, a real kind of repair or healing model, where Torah is really about coming back home to our own bodies as the source of divine wisdom and guidance. And I think that's so badly needed right now, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Well,
Thank
and part of what we practiced is like, so it makes sense when the body hurts. It makes sense, like running away from it makes sense.
Yeah, of
But
course.
that's not the work that we do, is we actually investigate um, discomfort. We investigate pain and and sort of begin to recognize that it's not one thing and that it's also not the whole world.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It reminds me of King David saying in the Psalms, V'toratcha betoch me'ai, your Torah, O Lord, right? Or O Yod He Vav He. It's in my kishkas, it's in my
Right,
viscera.
right, right, right. And you get that other the I can't remember who this, but the idea that we are made, of star stuff. Like there's all the apparently creation only has so many building blocks,
Yeah,
just like music only has so many notes. But look what we can make with it. Look what is made with it. And it's right there in my kishkis. It's in there. It's in me, in my mouth, in my heart.
so beautiful. There's a question here from Jill. Uh, can you say something about this? It makes sense that we receive Torah through our senses and that it's an inward journey. I love that. How do I hold that with the struggle to read and understand the words? I'm assuming, Jill, you mean the words of Torah in our inherited tradition, if that's inaccurate. Oh, I saw you give a thumbs up. Thanks, Jill. So how is there an awareness and sensory experience if I don't know what the words mean? And my sense, Jill, is you're asking here, how do I kind of balance the orientation to Torah that Julie's offering that's about going directly to our lived embodied experience? And then, how do I then relate that practice to engaging with our inherited tradition?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Sometimes sometimes there's something just about saying the words, even if you don't know what they mean. That is an embodied experience. And there is some satisfaction. You can experience satisfaction just by learning a thing by rote and having it in your mouth and saying it. Um, but I'm going to go to what I think might be behind what you're asking here is that that desire to know, to get closer, and what we're working with is what is true in this moment. And in this moment, it may be that I understand the words or I don't understand the words. I still can have a relationship to it. Um, and the struggle, yeah, to read and understand, we keep working with that. And we work with that desire and try not to let it move into demand, which will just cause suffering. Can I be with the truth? The truth is, and I'll tell you, I'm raising my hand here. Hebrew and I are going to be dating for the rest of my life. It's just hard for me. I didn't start until um, I was mid 30s. So like it's just going to be hard. Um, and I can recognize the beauty of that desire, of the yearning, And I can also notice the oppression of the demand. Oh, you have to be such and such, such and such. And so I get to see, how is that functioning for me? The demand is not functioning so well. The desire, maybe yes.
Thanks. I'm hearing in that response that, the habits of heart and mind that we cultivate in our meditation practice are transferable, right? And we can bring them to the content of the actual Torah, the physical Torah that we have. It reminds me of something my friend Rabbi Jordan Ben Dadapel, another teacher at the Institute, once said, just sometimes you get these Torah portions that are beautiful and resonant and meaningful, and the lessons seem obvious, and sometimes you get Tazria Metzora, which is like skin lesions and, and seminal and vaginal, discharges and, and so on and so forth. And it's like, just like as in our practice, we work with attending to both physical sensations that are pleasant and unpleasant and learning how to work with them with some degree of curiosity and equanimity. We can then bring that same practice to how we engage with words of Torah from our inherited tradition, whether they're resonant or off-putting, whether they elicit pleasant feelings or unpleasant feelings, and so on and so forth.
Right. And as our friends, the Buddhists say, the obstacle is the path. Rather than trying to shy away from it and not feel what we're feeling when we feel it, to instead get curious, but also bringing compassion and kindness to that, trying to have a safe distance, like a safe distance, but still be engaged, but still observe and see what's going on here. What's going on here? Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We have just maybe about 1 minute left, and I don't see additional questions in the chat. Maybe I'll just ask one final one, right? Which is that I'm really curious how, for you personally, in your own lived experience of practice, how this practice of turning your attention down into the body as a source of Torah, how it then supports your work of teshuvah during the month of Elul and the high holiday season.
It helps bring me back to what is real. It helps me be able to tell the difference between a story I'm telling myself, so maybe about a relationship with another person, and maybe you've had this experience too. When I'm not with the person, I come up with a whole story, weave a whole tale, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to say. And if they let me say this, it will solve everything. And then when you're with a person, like in your physical being, it's so different. It's so different. And so part of that teshuvah, in fact, it's sometimes harder. And can I just know that, be ready for it and be with it so that I can be with that person and leaning in towards that teshuvah.
Amen.
Repairing relationships. Yeah.
Amen. May it be so for all of us. And I see one final request here, Julie, which is for you to sing us out with that beautiful melody, Karov, the words of which I placed in the chat. And I'll do that again for anyone who wants to sing along. And that would be just a beautiful way to end. So, Julie, if it looks like you're amenable to that, and
I'm ready.
we'll really enjoy that.
Okay, I'm going to switch to original sound.
Yeah. Thank you
Thanks,
so
everybody.
much. Shana Tova. Thank you, Cantor.
Shana Tova.